Good morning. Again. I feel like I say that every time, and it's never morning. I've streamed in the morning probably one time. One single time. I have new music I'm gonna try out today, so let's hear it for the new music. It's just Stardew Valley music. I say just like it's not great music, but... Okay. Well, let us begin with a little bit of a refresher. Okay, I am throwing down the frickin' gauntlet. I've been using Hang on, hold. I am throwing down the frickin' gauntlet. I've been using DnD Beyond for years. Like, 2 years. And it's been fine until, like, 2 months ago when I needed to do a custom class and I couldn't do it. And then I looked at the terms and conditions and they said that they owned all of my homebrew. Balderdash. I'm making a change. I'm going to change the world for the better. Probably not, but I'm going to try to change the world for the better. The D&D Beyond system, actually most commercial software systems look like this. You have your name brand host. It could be D&D Beyond or Roll20 or any of those guys. And they host all of your data. They think you're cowards. I will host none of your data because I can't afford that. You, as a user, access D&D Beyond. They store all your stuff and they serve it to you on a plate, a rusty old plate made of dead nails from burnt down houses. We can't have that. At my house, you get your own server. Your own server that hosts your character sheets, your homebrew spells, your homebrew monsters, and it serves it to you. You're the owner, you're the manager. That's what we're doing here. And it's gonna be kind of slow, boring coding. So yeah. Let's look at the site. What's up, Drac? How's it going? Good morning, if it's morning wherever you are, hopefully. I'm excited to get back into this. I did a little bit of work last night because I couldn't sleep. What I did... It's evening in Ohio. So, bummer. I've been to Ohio a few times. I actually took a day trip to Ohio a while back. My sister and no, this was all me. I wanted to try Gold Star and what is the other chili place? Clearly you know where I stand, given that I remembered one of them, not the other. Oh, I just had it and then it went away again. Skyline, there it is. Skyline. I went and I wanted to try Skyline and Gold Star chili to see which one was better, because I heard people from Ohio talking about it. And is this music really loud? No, it seems fine. And so we drove to like 5-ish hours to go get chili. And then we tried both, and my sister thought that Skyline was better and I thought that Gold Star was better, and so now we don't talk to each other. It was a very awkward 5 hours back home. But yeah, if you want to know, if anyone who doesn't live in the Midwest wants to know what living in the Midwest is like, it's you drive 5 hours to do stupid shit sometimes. I think it's very funny hearing people outside of our little Midwest ecosphere who don't drive places, or who aren't willing to go for like just 10-hour drives to go do something cool. Because nothing's close enough out here to be able to hang out close to home. You don't drive anymore? Oh, man. I live so far from... It took me an hour to go to the store last night, so... Which was very dangerous, because we got a... We got a pretty bad storm that came through. Okay, here's what I added yesterday. I added a toast system. So now we get our little toast notifications on here that says like logged in, stuff like that. So now I can let the user know what's going on behind the scenes. If I log out, it logs out the user and things of that nature. Cool. Here we go. We're making some progress. Oh, I also added a line under the nav bar to differentiate the title space up here with the main content. And yeah, there's probably a ton of other stuff to do, but let's look at our features. Sorry for the flashbang. I don't have dark mode on Google Docs. Navigation is in progress. That's kind of going to be in progress forever. I just need all the other pieces to line up so that I know what goes in the navigation and we can implement all those pages. Modify users has not been started yet. We'll need to... Oh, I added a W. That's great. We're going to need some legwork to get that going. The version numbers should be pretty easy. I need to remember how I add those as a variable. Or I know how to add them as a variable. I need to figure out how I want to do this specifically. There's a bunch of different ways to do versioning in Node and Vue. And we'll see. Implement toast. This is in progress because I need to go through and actually add the toast to all the places that need to toast. Okay. If you don't know what a toast is just a brief notification that shows up, tells you what's going on, and then disappears. It's like when you raise your glass to toast, you put your glass back down, and then it's over, right? So, let's open. Why is it not on screen? Oh, wait. Hang on. Well, the VS Code's not on screen. Where did you go, VS Code? Code. There we go. Oh, Texas toast is good. I've been trying to eat less bread recently, or less less like processed carbs in general, because my doctor's telling me to cut that out. But Texas toast is so good. It's the best way to make French toast. If you've never had like really thick slabs of French toast, you're missing out. Okay. What did I just say I was gonna do? On this, implement toast. Cool. Let's start there. We'll take a look around the stores. So primarily toasts go in the stores. So this is the view side, right? We've got our node server up here where I'm going to touch the server for this toasting stuff. All of the toast notifications go on the user side, on the client. That is here. So I've already done auth. You can see auth has a bunch of things. So login. This is what actually, let me explain the toast system, because this is something that most people wouldn't know about. All the toast system is a list. So we've got this list here. This is some TypeScript stuff, just explaining what's going on. Basically, it's saying that this is a list of items that look, or of objects that look like this. So each object has a message and a type. And then you actually define your list here, which is empty. Whenever we want to add a toast, we have to give it a message, we have to give it a type that's one of these types, or it defaults to info. And then we push that object with message and type, like we see up here, to this list, right? That's what push does. And then we wait 3 seconds, which is this set timeout, and then we shift. Shift just takes the first value in the list and removes it, and then shifts everything to the left. So if you think about all these words here being in a list, right? When you push, you add a item to the end, and when you shift, you take an item off the front. So it's essentially just a queue. You can think of it like waiting in a line. And every 30 seconds, we pull someone from the front of the line and throw them in the dumpster because we don't need them anymore. And then everyone else steps up to be thrown in the dumpster next, you know? So we do the same thing. And then we have our toast item. Filtering the notifications. I'm not sure what you mean. Here, we define what our toast message looks like. This is what that little box in the corner is. So when you actually see the little box in the corner, that's what we're defining here. This is just a div with this class and a p tag in it with some text. That text is the message, and the class, it gets a base class of toast and a subclass of type. So that's why we define both here. Then, and all the success, error, and info does is change the gradient that you see. So there's a green gradient, a red gradient, and then just a flat gray background for info toast, which almost never come up because you routinely, or you very, very rarely need to tell the user something that's info related because they can see it, obviously. Errors happen in the background silently, which is why they're errors, and successes are something to be celebrated, so you highlight them in green. Realistically, if you don't need to celebrate any successes, but it makes the user feel good, and I'm cool with that. I just realized that my sound effects, my SFX, are not hooked up, so let me change that really quick. Properties. I usually remember to do this, and then today I just forgot. Speaker bot, streamer bot. Okay, cool. Twitch stuff should work again. Alright, now in Toast, there's a whole bunch of animation to get that slide in from the right, and the disappearing act that it does, and the moving the toast up one whenever you get a new one. But all you need to care about, because this stuff is all annoying, animation in CSS is not my favorite. And I kind of just blacked out when I did it. So all you need to know is that there's a thing you can do in Vue called for loops. Right? You can do this in every programming language, and it's implemented like this in Vue. So you get this v-for tag, and then all of your code goes between the quotes. Up here. Up here. So this is just saying, give me a toast and an index from this list, which is the same list that we have in the toast store here, this list, that we were adding to and removing from before. And because it's a ref, it automatically updates. We don't have to worry about pushing anything to this page specifically. It just happens. Because Vue is pretty cool. It gets a key, which is its index. This list never can be more than like 100 notifications or something like that. It'd be very difficult to overload the Toast system. So I'm not going to worry about putting a limit on it. And then we've got our message that it displays and the type. These are handled obviously by properties up here. I think we did properties last stream, so I'm not going to go over it too many times in a row. And that's the system. It's much simpler than you expect. This kind of basic, reference principle that we have, where references are automatically updated, is kind of the basis for everything that Vue does, and I'm pretty stoked about it. All right, let's get rid of some of this clutter. We can drop the toast system. Don't really need it. In auth, I want to check and make sure every function that could fail has a notification that'll tell you that something either failed or succeeded. So we've got an error logging in, right? This is the correct toast. This check auth would get very annoying because it checks every time we change routes whether or not we're still authenticated. We don't want to have a success because it'd come up all the time, but if we do have an error, we want it to error and then send the user back to the login page, which gets handled by the router. It's not in here. Is that everything that's in route? Oh no, we've got check user. We've got 2 toasts here, success and error. 2 toasts here, success and error, and 2 toasts here, success and error. So I think that's good for toast and auth. Now we need setup. I'm realizing now that I should have just done this correctly the first time. Okay. So we need a try catch block, which I will throw this stuff in. Here we need a catch error. This should be error. I'm not sure why it changed that up suddenly. And this will just handle any 500 errors we get when the server fails. We don't need to report. We can just move the checked true into a finally. And drop it here. And then we can throw this outside the try because it's not important. So if you don't know what try, catch, and finally do, this is how JavaScript does its error handling. Everything in try just happens. If there's an error, you run this block, which is catch. And then finally happens no matter what happens. So even if this error block like fails or something, finally still runs. Finally runs if try succeeds or fails is the gist of it. Okay, so we don't need a success toast, but we probably do need a failure toast. So I need to import the toast store from import, no, not auth store. Use toast store from toast. And here, yep, that's fine. Implement that. And then toast store.add toast error checking setup status is fine. Cool. So now whenever we get an error, we will pop out a little toast notification that says, hey, we messed this up. You got to go look at your instance of the app and see what you can do. Okay, now the version store. This will eventually implement the Axios route for this to grab the server stuff, but for now we will. Oh, no, not here. Not here. In here. Try, catch, error. Same deal as before. Okay. And then toast store.add. There we go. What's gonna happen in here? I'm not sure yet. I'll have to look it up. Hang on. So this is suggesting that I store the client version in the server, which is asinine, and I will not be doing that. If you do it like that, I don't mean to say that you're asinine, but that is not how I think you should do that. Because one day you're going to want to split up the two applications into a separate server repo and a client repo, and then that's just going to be a headache that doesn't resolve itself without your effort. So don't do it like that. But we can cut the client version. We'll just keep this. And then I can implement this route really quick to grab the server version. but I need to really quick look up how other people do this. Because the way that I do this in my projects when I'm deploying for production applications is not how normally people would do this. I'm doing a special use case in my actual work, right? As is typical of anyone who's doing actual production work, it is not standard, because if you're doing anything production-wise, you're probably doing something new. Because no one hires programmers to do things that have been done before. Spoiler, if you want to become a programmer, doing things that other people have done before is not typically on your plate. Most companies now... Hang on, I need to type words that aren't what I'm saying. Okay. Most companies are not going to pay you to implement something that someone else already does. They will just use third-party software, because their goal is to make as much money as possible, and hiring developers is exceptionally expensive. No, that's not it. People are doing this with get tags, which is... that kind of makes sense. That would probably work. Okay. I love this song. This is like the best Stardew Valley song. Oh my gosh. Okay. I would probably need to do some Git stuff right now, and I can't be fucking bothered at all to do that, so we're gonna move on. This will just not function, and I will let this be a hanging item on the list for a little bit. Now, what's next on the list? Let's open the list. Can I get Google Docs dark mode? Hang on. It's starting to upset me, and I'm the one who owns the computer. There's a Chrome extension. Hey Google. Hey Google, I have a question. Oh, that's gonna get my phone going. Hang on. I have a question, Google. Why? Why no dark mode? It's easy. It's very easy. This is probably less than a day of work for a developer. This is like 2 hours tops. And I know you have good enough devs because Google Docs is a widely used piece of software. Fucking, I don't know, have Gemini do it. It would be so simple. Just make Google Docs dark mode exist natively. Why do we need an extension to fix your software on your platform? What are we doing? Why would you act like this, Google? I can't believe it. This is ridiculous. This is silly. Okay. I'm going to download the dark mode extension for Google Docs. This has 3.5 stars. How is that even possible? This is a dark mode extension. Some people are saying this does not work. I fear for the cognitive capabilities of people in the extension's comments. How do I enable this? Okay. If I refresh, is this gonna dark mode me? That's not bad. This is still white. Why is there a PayPal button? I don't want a PayPal button. I don't even want a side panel. I want nothing. Oh yeah, that's just changing the page background. My issue wasn't the page, but all this, it was just too much white on one page. This is fine. Okay. So let's move to modifying the users, and implementing toasts is completed. Done. Onion rings. Format. Text. Strike through. Okay. I also want to limit access, limit GUI access for admin. I'll explain why we need to do that in a little bit, because that doesn't typically occur to most people to do that, but your admin should not have full capabilities. Your admin should have special privileges and not be able to do everything, otherwise people use the admin account for everything. Which is a very bad practice. Let us work on this modify users bit. There's quite a bit of work here. Just kind of hinted at, suggested in our wording here. So we're gonna take some steps to really dive deep into what that means. So if I click this users tab, you see this is not properly formatted. We'll do that at a later date. But I have the option here to create a new user, which does work. I tested that last stream. Down here, I want to display a list of all the current users on the page. And then it'll let you do some modifications to that, right? First thing is displaying the users. So we need to bop back to node for just a little bit. We're going to do some thinking, some R&D on this. This should be fairly simple, but we need a new folder, right? New folder. Do we need a new folder? Or should I make this part of authentication to display the users? I think I should. But it should have its own route under here. So it should be new file. and its own subroute. So it should just be its own folder. Alright. The reason I'm thinking this should not be its own folder is... there's part of me that just wants to not think about this too much and go ahead and get it done. But look at all the other routes here. Create user, right? That's the only one. Okay, wait, hang on. I just solved my own problem. We don't need user to go in here. We need to pull the user bits out of auth and put it into its own thing. That's the solution. That's what we're doing. First things first is I'm just going to copy this shit over. And I'm going to see what I don't need. I don't need auth. I might need auth. Do I need auth? No. Because we're not doing auth. I need JWT token, which is not here. JWT token is dash authentication / JWT token. Custom errors is fine. That's just 2 folders up. Loggers fine. Require role. Yep, we need to grab that from authentication. And then type check. We don't need type check. Every folder is going to have its own type checks to check its own types, you know? And in fact, user roles and some of the type check needs to move to users. I think. Yes, but we'll do that in a second. I want to get this route going. And then we'll see what's actually needed. So, create user is going to move to here. So we do need type check is user. And then, yeah, we need to export this down here. Can we do that? Export default router. Okay. Now, this is not needed. We need a new file called users.ts, which will take some of the stuff that we had in auth. So auth just held a bunch of various functions that I used for authentication. When we do create user, we will move that out of auth into here. We need a bunch of stuff from in here. We need to export this hash password function, right? Export hash password. Create user is going to move. Right, that just allows us to make sure that we're using bcrypt everywhere. Whenever we need to change away from bcrypt, we can do that just by changing this function, and we don't have to go through and change everywhere in the code. Yes, cool. Got us. Let's go. Users, what does users need? Hash password, which we will import. We need Prisma, right? We do not need bcrypt. Not needed. Incorrect. Import hash password from at dash, no, not at. Thinking of view. Authentication dash auth. Right, cannot find hash password. What are you on? No. Excuse me, oh my gosh. Okay, we need this unauthenticated error. That is stored in custom errors, which is above all this. Why is my copy paste not working? And then I need Prisma, not Prisma client. I don't need to re-import this. I've already done it. Cool. Save. Oh, we need role from Prisma client. If you're wondering what role actually is, role is defined in my schema, I think. Yeah. It's just an enum. Cool. Now we've got this create user. If we pop back into auth, I actually need to export default, right? Yeah. To make sure everything works, export default create user. Okay, now we jump back to route. And I'm moving quickly. We gotta get this done, because I do need this app to be done at some point. I can't work on this forever. Also, you can't really see what I'm doing, can you? Let's zoom in a little bit, huh? Okay. So now we need type check. We need our own type check here. Unless, do I want to put all types in one folder? Or should I just spread it out? No. It should just be spread out. Can't see it on the phone. Well, of course you can see it on the TV. That's like 10 times the size of your cell phone. I don't know how better to display this in my overlay. We're just gonna have to deal with it. I can't make it any bigger on the screen or else I can't see what's going on, so. Instead of type check, let's rename this to user types. And then we can rename this to auth types, right? Update, yes. Then we can pop back to auth types. Okay, we need isUser, which requires this role. Oh, we probably want to move the user roles to users, right? Yes, update the imports for that. And then our auth types, we need to remove this. And we need roles. So that simplifies that file. This file is... delete this jazz. Cool. So we have roles, and we've got roles for this, so this should work correctly. Now in user roles, we need isUser, which is from user types. So instead of auth types, we need to import from our current folder, and it should be user types. Correct? Cannot find module auth types. Well, that makes sense. This has no default export. Oh, that makes sense. Export default is user. Cool. There we go. Now user roles is correct. This route has an error that we need to clean up. Is user. So we need to import. No, trust. Why did you just try to import the same thing? Is user from user types, right? And then when I check this, we just do not is user. Correct? Correct. And really I should just import is login body from auth types. Cool, cool. Not is login body is correct there. That has no exported member is login body. Why not? Why not? It's exported here. Oh, does it need this export? There we go. Cool. Now we can add import is user from user types. We need not auth, right? We're importing from users now instead of auth. Correct? Correct. Do I need create token? Not anymore. Import users dot create user. No, just import users. Uh-oh. This is how you know it's the end of the night. Ugh. I've been awake for too long. I need to sleep at some point. Why am I in insert mode? What is it complaining about? Oh, it's just taking forever to update because I'm making changes too quickly. There's one more issue in route, right? With this users, not correct? Oh, wrong route. I think the issue still is here, right? In setup. This should move to users. Because setup just sets up the admin user. Which means that in auth, move the setup function here. To here, is this correct? Yep, export setup. Save. Here we need to not export setup anymore. And our check setup also needs to move. Or get setup status needs to move. I can only imagine that'll move again later. There we go. See you later, Drake. Have a good night. Okay. What is it complaining about? And this route should be completely fine. We've got our setup, we've got our create user, we've got now in here. Oh, that's right. Get setup status needs to completely move out of this router into this router. This needs to change to users. And then we look back here, and we should be fine. Require role is no longer required. Because any user is allowed to authenticate. We're not creating users, so we don't need to check if they are users, right? Prisma, I don't know why Prisma was ever imported here. That doesn't quite align with what I expected, so I'm just going to take it out. Next is not needed, so we can remove that bit of code. And yeah, okay, so that's that done. Now I need to go back to the client and update the client, because I've just done a whole lot of messing with stuff, and now I need to unmess with it. I also need to add a new set of routes here. So import user routes from user routes, and then we need not use users. Okay, cool. Let's bop back to our auth store. And I've got this create user. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to change the store because, of course, that's aligns with the router above it. User dot or users dot ts. Let's change it. I will just copy over all of the auth stuff and we'll make some quick changes to this. So we don't need logout. We don't need, we do need setup. We do need create. We don't need login because that's part of authentication, not the users. We don't need to check if we're authenticated. That is part of auth. And then setup has its own store. Do I want to give setup its own set of routes? No, setup is kind of user-ish. I'm fine with it being 2 in the view and 1 in the route or in the node. Username and role makes a bit more sense. Well, no, it doesn't make sense here at all. Because that stuff is all authentication anyway. Authentication manages the currently logged in user, and users manages all of the users. Do I need ref? Probably not. Yep, we need to update this. We just need create user and setup for now. Cool. And then I need to change this. Use users store, and this will be users. Oh, that was good. Why did it select all of the everything? Users API. Just copy this. Users. Oh. Users setup. And then in the... Why does it setup just go to its own store? This store. The setup store. Where we set things up. Doesn't that make more sense? Of course it does. This goes to the user store. Cool. Now in auth, I need to go through and take out all of the setup and user stuff. So, setup, create user, gone. Anything else in here? No, that's all fine. These get disappeared. What is this complaining about? Setup is gone? Correct. Okay. Now auth store setup is gone. But we have the setup store, so we're going to change this to setup store. I was expecting it to do some autofill stuff. Guess not. Where else is it gonna freak out about that? Probably when I create the users, is it not? That is in users. No, it's in one of the subcomponents. Or no, it's in a view part. Yeah. Under user store, which I need to import. There we go. Modify will have the same treatment. Let's check everything else just to be sure. Our VS Code is doing its own check, but I need... Is this running? I need to click through because otherwise it's going to take forever to actually complete its check. It's looking through a ton of files. Trying to figure out what's going on, so... Does login need to change? No, because login's all off. Home is nothing, because home doesn't exist yet. We'll have to decide what's on our home page. That's one thing that I'll be interested to see is how much of this is going to be fully customizable by the user. Because if you're making your own instance of this, well, we want it to be... I want it to be. There's no we, it's just me here. I guess my cat can have input if he stops freaking napping. Why is the chat over top of the VS Code? Do I want to fix that? Do I care? Or can I just leave it scuffed? It's fine. Brian, what am I doing? Huh? What was going on? Let me look back at my list. Modify users. That's where I was going. We walk a long road as developers to find our way to where the requirements tell us to go. And often that road is paved with creating a single folder that then takes 10 minutes to completely fill out. So what's next? What's next is I need a display users route that gives me a user's everything, but not everything, because we don't want their password. Even their hashed password we don't want to display. But we need their ID. We need their username. We want their email. We want their role. And that's it. That's all we need. So let's add that to users. So the base thing that you do when you say, give me user route, is you get all the users. It's as simple as that. Ask and you shall receive. You need to be authenticated. Authenticate token, right? This should work. Why is it so slow? What am I doing? Streaming video and playing an hour-long audio file and keeping like 7 Google tabs open and loading a bunch of streams from a bunch of different software? Like, how could that possibly slow my PC down at all? No, really. My PC is like beefy. What the fuck? There we go. Why is it not yellow? It should be yellow. This is P and me O. I also want you to be an admin. Do you need to be an admin to get all the users? No. No. No, you don't. Because, and the reason why you don't need to be an admin is because GMs, when they want to add players to their campaign, need to have access to those players. So if you're a GM and you want to add Paul to your campaign, you need to be able to look up who's available, and out of a list of people that you could choose Paul. And I can do it this way because this is going to be a locally, well, maybe locally. This is going to be a self-hosted gig, you know? You're going to be hosting this software, not me. So you decide who gets to be GM and who doesn't. That should be fine. If I get complaints, I can change it. Do you want to see how easy it is to change this? It's, Wow. Programmers are so useful and necessary. We do things like change letters. Is that gonna make people upset that I said that this is all we do? Because it's not all we do. But I swear, people at work and people in my life, you can do the simplest thing. If it involves code in any way, people who don't know about code freak the fuck out. You change 2 letters and it's like you solve a Millennium Prize problem or something. They go bananas if you change code around. Okay, what was I doing? Okay. I need a get users function. Get users. Now you may be why am I in insert mode again? You may be asking yourself, Soupman, why do you constantly create routes and then put all of the code that you put in the route somewhere else? That's because this file is called route.ts and not users.ts, friend. If you want user-related stuff, it goes in here. But if you want route-related stuff, it goes in here. Simple. Easy. It makes the file a lot cleaner. And it means that you don't have to constantly reformat your route every time you want to make a code change. And when there are code errors, you know it's never in the router TS itself. This code is usually pretty stable and simple. And very, again, easy to read. You can see router post route. And the only thing that matters here, error handling. And you know what that also means? When you're in the code here, you can just throw new errors and the layer above it handles that. And it makes everything really cleanly divided. It's a great system. It's like this is the way code was intended to be written. Okay, we need get users. No, I'm not saying everything I do is correct, obviously. I do a lot of dumb stuff, but this is probably fine. Okay, so we need to wait user, not count. What is the function for this? No. What are my options? It's not find first. It should be find all. I think it's find all. Or find many? Okay. It's probably find all in Sequelize, which is what I'm used to. We need users. Then we return the users. Find many returns a list of objects, correct? Wait, oh, because it thinks this is a Boolean. Ah, pisser. No. So we're role.admin, where... Can I do not role admin? How do I do where not in this system? Ooh, this music's awesome. Hang on. Okay, so where role, and then this gets its own object, is not admin. So never return the admin. They're doing their own business, right? Let me. No, that. What the hell? Why did it do that? Oh, that should be fine. I think it should be fine. Where? And then I need a specific subset of data, which I've done before and I just don't remember. I think it's for login that I did that. If we look back at the way that login is implemented, select. Okay, yeah, it's select. Is not. Object letter may only be. Is not does not exist in type in unfiltered user. Do you mean to write not? Is it not? Is not? Is it just not? I can try just not. That's fine. And we want to select username. We want to select ID. True. Role true. Password. No. Wait. What? Why is authentication returning password? That's not correct. Oh, because it gets the password, it uses it to check, and then it fucks off again. Okay. Okay, good. So we check where your role is not admin. And then we select your ID, your username, your role. We need your email. From whatever we get, and then we spit that back out. That should be fine. That should be fine. But we'll see. If I pop back up to our route. Get users does not exist on type. Create user. Right. You're right. Wait, where am I at? I'm just in the whole ass wrong file. Hang on. Why is this? There we go. Cool. Route. Get users. Just complete or errors for some reason. Complete is set up. No, not correct. Want users? It should be users. I see why it keeps going to insert. My backspace and my insert are right next to each other, and I keep hitting it on accident. Oh, that's gonna cause a conflict. User list. User list. Sure. Do I just import create user? And get users? I feel like this is preferable. Then I don't have to worry about this, and I get cleaner names everywhere. Right? Now instead of doing this, we don't do that instead. I need setup, I need get setup status. I don't know. Maybe I'll decide to change my mind on that later. You can't find it? No, it's fine. It's fine. It took longer than me to figure that out, but error finding users, cool. But sure, that's whatever. That seems like a not significant change, but we can do it. Okay. Now let's go to our stores again. Our stores down here at the bottom. We will rid ourselves of the node stuff here. Let's just get to a more clean state, right? Let's just get rid of all this. Ah, there we go. We will close all of our server stuff. Now we can focus in on the bits that matter. The users. Then we need a new function. Async function. Get users. Yep, that is correct. Catch error. I don't know why it indented it so much. Yep, we only need an error when we actually get an error. We don't need to... I guess we do need to return stuff, don't we? Now, get users. We need to check if we don't get a 200 status. There's probably a more sophisticated check for this. But we will see. Res data users. Cool. Cool. That should be fun. Now, in users.view, we can import use user store, right? Const user store. Why is this crying? It's fine. We also need on mounted. We will create a new function to do some business. What do we need unmounted to do? We need it to go to our user store and get our users. Const. Well, actually, do we need this to be a constant here? Let's define it up here. No, we don't even need this. We just need to await this when we open, right? Await get users. instead of returning, get users doesn't return at all. We have a constant users stored up here equals ref. I'm gonna see if Copilot, you want to handle this one? No? Okay, I'll do it myself. I've, I guess, overloaded the bot. ID, what is the ID? It's an integer. And then we've got, this doesn't even go here. Users.value equals res.data.users. I'm really stressing the system out, making all these changes. What is going on? Come on, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you. I'm gonna make some tea while it figures this stuff out. Uh-oh. Am I having a network error or something? What's going on? It just didn't do it. That was freaking weird. Wow. Oh, we need refs, right? Why is it Christmas? Oh, I guess it's Christmas music in the middle of this. That's okay. Uh-oh, my headphones are about to die. Here, please hold. You'll get to listen to the fancy music, and I will get to listen to nothing. For just a little bit. It's exported correctly. Yeah, okay. ID. Yeah, there we go. Oh. I definitely don't want this outputting. Output to nothing. I will just turn down my TV. Okay. That way you're not getting double music. Cool. I really don't like that the chat is overlaid with... Let me make the chat smaller. I guess I'll make VS Code a little smaller, that's okay. Alright, I don't know why it snapped when I... Oh, undo. Cool, there we go. Now we've got get users here. Right, that's all properly typed. Oh, we don't want to toast whenever we get the users because it will probably happen a lot once we implement polling. This needs to be async. Async. So when we first get here, we async this. We get users. Precisely what I wanted, thank you. And here we need to export our users. Username, user email, user role. For as much as I don't like when AI is used to just generate code whole cloth, I really like that every once in a while it's able to very accurately predict what you want and then just go, here it is, and it's good. Now, is it perfect? No, because I'm going to change this immediately, but it is very cool. And I'm just realizing I've never talked into this microphone without my headphones on. I've always had my headphones on to monitor, and my voice sounds so much different talking into a pop filter with no headphones on. Like, this is strange. This is very strange. Has my fan been on this whole time? Hang on. It just started feeling really drafty in here, and I'm like, ah, damn, it's kind of cold. And then I heard the fan going, and it wasn't the heat, it was just the fan. Which is great for the air circulation, but really bad for me not being cold. Because, spoiler, it's cold outside. Oh my gosh. I went to the store yesterday, and it takes me like an hour to get to the store. I had to go get some clothes because I'm traveling. And I left, and the skies were clear, and it was just becoming nighttime, and everything was fine. And then, just as I got to the store, which is like I said, an hour away, it started snowing a little bit, and I was like, you know what? This is kind of a lot of snow. It wasn't a little bit; it was a lot of snow, but the wind was blowing real bad, and I'm like, okay, well, we're getting snow and wind. I'm not really sure about what tonight's gonna look like. And it was the worst drive home I've ever experienced in my whole life. That's not true. It was one of the worst, though. The roads were shiny ice. It wasn't even like packed snow or anything. It was just shiny ice from where the snow had blown over the street and melted a little bit because the street had not cooled down to the temperature of the snow yet, and then it solidified into a sheet of ice. And when I say that there was zero visibility, I've never had less visibility in anything that was moving. Um, the wind was blowing drifts of snow onto the hood of my car, not blowing snow in front of the windshield where you get like reduced visibility to like 150 feet or whatever. Piles of snow were flying off of the grass next to the road and slamming into my windshield. I had to drive probably the last, I don't know, 3-4 miles at 5 miles an hour because I couldn't see shit, including the road. Every now and again, the wind would die down for a second and to be able to check, am I still in the lines? And if I'm still in the lines and I'm not hearing the rumble strip and I'm not hitting the gravel on the side, I think I'm good. But who knows? Who knows how deep the snow is in the gravel? Out here in the sticks, there's not like a gentle landing where you could just pull off to the side of the road. No, off the side of the road is a fogging cliff that they dug. There's a cliff that leads to a puddle of frozen water or freezing water at that point. And yeah, it was bad. It was freaking dangerous, dude. Okay, let's take a look. I'm gonna actually move this button around to up here. When I clicked the control copy button, what did you think I was pressing? Okay, now let's look at our open sheet. Why does it think that setup has failed? Error checking setup status. Suppose I didn't test these systems again, did I? API users setup status. What are you complaining about? Is it an issue in here? Error authenticating user, no token provided. It's not been 6 hours since I last logged in, I don't think. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't restart the server. There we go. Error logging in. Why did it send me to here anyway? And why did it give me this? What the heck? Oh, I just had... Okay. I already had a token. I just typed in the wrong credentials. I probably need to fix that. I'll think about it. I'll add it to my list. Okay. Error fetching users. At least we're on new code that's freaking out. Come on. Nope. Not GitHub. There we go. What did that show us? Oh, just my GitHub account. Okay, let's see. Did this even hit the back end? API users get users. Okay. Because this route does not exist. It's just get on the users. Because of course that's what it is. Why would it be anything else? What is our error now? Access error request failed with 403. We're not allowed? Oh, okay, I see. Required role needs to be a minimum required role. Currently I'm logged in as an admin, and it needs a required role of GM. But now I need to... Actually, I'm just going to make it accept a list or a string. Right? Or string list. And then... Yeah, if is array role. Else we do this. Cool. Good job. Save. Now we bought back to users. Or no, we bought back to the route. And in our required role, we have admin GM. Cool. Cool. Oh, you can't even hear music now. I'll have to keep on top of that. Oh, you can't even see what I did. Ah, pisser. I forgot. I'm sorry. I changed this to allow a string or an array of strings, and we check if it's an array. If it's an array, we check if your role is in it, and otherwise we just check if your role is your role. Okay, cool. In the route, I added admin GM for this get route, and now we're gonna go back to here, and it should work perfectly when I try it, and it didn't work at all because I didn't reset the server to update those routes. Def. Okay. Why is it freaking out at me now? Error authenticating user forbidden malformed user. What the frick? What the frick? Why is my user malformed? Type check is user. Or if user equals null. How would this even have happened? That's a fun one. No, for now I'm gonna log out and log back in. Same thing, really? Really? Rect.user. Hang on. Or not, logger.debug, not console. Logger.debug. Wait, why does this need to be a user? This should not be a user. Rec.body isn't even used here. Why does it care? That's not correct. We just need to check if our user is not null. That's the problem. Now, oh, you couldn't even see the code. Hey, we got the users. Okay, let me just show you what I did. Here, there's this malformed user error. This used to say it checked the rec.body to be a specific type of user, and I just got rid of it. And now I'm getting rid of the type check because it's not freaking needed at all. I have no clue why that was in there. Not necessary, though. Okay. Now, something you'll notice is that 1, you can't do anything with this list, and 2, it looks pretty bad. So we're going to change that. But first I'm going to re-up my T. Okay, cool. Now, we need to make this a proper table. So I need to add a display table that will let us select items in it. And then we'll be able to do stuff with those items. And then that'll get us on to modifying users. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. Not super fast, but we're getting somewhere. I just heard a really high-pitched whine. I wonder what that was about. That was strange. Okay. Now, we need a minor component here. View parts are like major components. These are big pieces of your thing, and minor components are essentially generic boxes that you can put items in. So your toast is a minor component because you just stick messages in it and send it to the user. Generic display box is a minor component because it is just displaying something. The view part are like bigger sections of code that often utilize the minor components to greater effect. And even though the next feature that we add is going to end up being a very large component, it'll still go in minor components because it is going to be under everything else. So we need a new file. We need an info table. Info table, display information for the user. Cool. Script. Is it language? Yeah, linked, yes, there we go. Template. Go. And then style scope. Okay. Now, oh my gosh, I'm starting to get really tired. Table. We also need, so we've got tr, we've got th, right? That's our table head. No, hang on. No, this was right, is it not? Let me remind myself. No, it's not. Stop it. This is another table row, and then inside of it we get our th. But this is going to be a custom table. Custom table you can put anything in on the site. So first we need define props, which are going to be info. And info is going to be a list of type any. I think. Yeah, info type any. Wait, record? No. I don't know why it's thinking this, but this is not correct. Incorrect, all of this is not correct. Each value is going to be an object, so this will be like row, right? I don't remember what record is. Oh, properties K and type T. Okay, so it's going to be a thing of string, which is the properties K, and all the properties are strings, right? And then any type. This could literally be anything, and we'll have cases to handle all of it. And then there's going to be a list of records. Cool? Capiche? Righto. Then we have a bunch of TD, which we will decide exactly how we handle it, right? Stop it. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I just need to think. We have info. We also need headers. There's going to be a list of strings. Those will display up here. This is obviously the easier part. So this loops through all of our rows. And then, yep, you're correct. Good job. Good job. And then TD for header and headers, key header. No. No, but close. Nope. Nope, not correct. There's going to be 4, maybe we have a separate thing that defines our table properties. So table properties, right? And all of these are going to be strings as well. So we've got our headers. Oh wait, you know what we could do? What if we do it like this? What if we define headers as a record of type string? No. I could like really well define this thing. So this could be a list of objects, right? That's what this bit is. And those objects could have type display, right? Which is a string that gets displayed. And a type table prop, which is the prop for the table. And then this could be renamed a table because it's going to be a freaking table. For header in headers, correct? Gets a this gets a comma, right? Oh, does it just need to be this? Just an array of this stuff? Okay, cool. Right. And so this is header.display, header.table prop is a-okay. And then down here, for row and table, and then key. What is key? Oh, the key is the... I don't know what key is. Key is a number. This is index. Put it in a language I understand, please. And then all of our table data is the header in headers. Right, we loop through those. And then we grab the table property for that, and we insert it here. Oh my gosh, you couldn't see all of that. I need to really get better about that. I'm sorry. I created an info table component, and I rambled on about a bunch of bullshit. I added this define props for the actual table data and the headers here, and there's a whole bunch of looping logic that we'll go over in a little bit. I just gotta get better at this. I really dropped the ball. You can clearly see what's going on, I hope. And then we display whatever's in the column. Now let's take a look back at let's add this to our users now. So instead of this jazz, we will create an info table, right? This will be the user stores, and then it will display username, email, display role, and I can nuke that. That's fine. Cool. And if we jump back to this thing, we have this. Cool. Username, email, role. Now you're probably asking yourself, this looks like shit. Why is this so bad? Yeah, I gotta figure that out. Why is this too big now? That's strange. Well, whatever. Okay, let's jump back to our info table. Now, we need to do a bunch of stuff. First thing is first. What is first? I don't know. I'm gonna have to call it soon because I'm getting extremely tired. And I gotta go pack. The table formatting could be better. Also, every item in this could be better. So let's do that. Let's make TD. Border, no. We want the font size to be bigger because it's incredibly tiny at the moment. So like 1.3 rem should be fine. If we take a look at this, that is much better. That's also, oh no, this is at 100%. When I was developing last time, I had this at like 200%. So that is better. The headers need to be markedly larger than that. If I correctly close this window, you'll be able to see it. And that is TH, font size, text align left, padding bottom should be fine. And actually, I can make a class here. Class equals header, which means I can do a bit more styling. Right, so dot header, and we want our base stylings to be our prop or our tags, right? And this is where we can do things like change the background color and all sorts of stuff. But what might be more important is border bottom. 2 pixels, solid white, sure. We jump back here. We can see that that didn't do anything for some reason. Why didn't that do anything? You, why no do nothing? No, stop it. Come on, let me select. There we go. The border on the bottom should be fine. It's just not showing. Maybe everything else has a border that I can't see. So maybe under TD, we want border, none. Nope, that didn't fix it. That's strange. I don't know why that's happening. Why is that happening? I have no clue. None whatsoever. You know what else I might want? Well, I guess we'll see that in a second. Yeah. Yeah, I might change that. I'm not sure where that's going on. Let's get some global styling for the table, I guess. Table. 100% border collapse. Is that what I want? There we go. Cool. Oh, we can very easily see our username, our email, our role. Now we just want to be able to select these. So, oh. I'm going to do selections a little bit different than I would normally for this stuff. And actually, while we're here, I'm going to make a big change. The nav bar. We're to change how these list items display. So if equals not auth store dot, what is it, dot role equals admin. So if you're an admin, I really don't want you seeing this page or that stuff because you're not able to do anything with it. Or maybe admins don't have the ability to create campaigns, but they do have the ability to delete them. So if you are, because obviously you don't want other GMs in your group being able to delete other GMs' campaigns, but if you're an admin, you should have personal nuke rights to everything. So I guess their admin page is just going to look different than everyone else's. Right? Okay. Solve that. Good job, me. Let's go back. Now, oh, hey Snack, what's up, buddy? Good morning. Yeah. Good morning. Oh, the music's off. Oh, I'm playing the Stardew Valley music again. Okay. I want to make each one of these table rows selectable except for the header. So this needs its own class. Class equals body row, right? Dot body row. Nope, we don't need a border bottom for this at all. On hover, we want to slightly change the background color. Why did this happen? Didn't it just give me a good RGBA? What was it? 255.5 or whatever. Make it a lot lighter by a wee bit. Oh, you couldn't even see it. I'm so good. Look at this. Cool. So now you can highlight this. It's a little bit too bright. I just added this body row and then this hover. So instead of 0.5, let's go like 0.75. Save. Oh, I've got it back. Whoops, I got it backwards. Snack, stop it. Cool. So when you hover over these, you get the sense that you can click them. Stop. Stop that. That's not nice. That's not nice at all. Yeah, I love you too. Oh, yelling. Very rude. Okay, I want to add a prop, which is selectable rows. Right? And so we only want to be selectable row dot hover here, right? How do you do this again? There we go. So now if we jump back to, you can't even freaking see it. Okay, I'm getting too tired to continue this, but I changed this. I added a prop up here, so if you want your rows to be selectable in the table, you can do that, and then this will allow it to be selectable. Now we can go back and look at the freaking thing. So now I can't select anything, and if I jump back to, the code, and I go to our users, we can add that. Table headers. I can put these on their own line, so let's do that. Selectable rows, true. Cool. Now, if I go back here, we get our selectable rows back. One last thing to do before I call it a day. Snack, stop it. That's enough. To jump to our info table, and this just needs a cursor pointer. There we go. Snack. Enough. That's enough. Cut it out. You don't get to throw a tantrum because I'm not paying attention to you right now. You have to wait. You have to wait 5 minutes. And now we get our pointer cursor that says, hey, you can click on this. I will do some more work on the info tables off stream. I'm trying to rush ahead a little bit off stream so we can get closer to doing D&D related stuff. Just because I think that's what people are going to find the most interesting. So, anyway, that's going to be it from me. I